Welcome home. My biggest worry was that I wouldn't be able to get through that without crying, and I mostly did get through it without crying. This has been a hard year. It's been a hard year. And it's not over. It's going to be a hard couple of years, but we are creating a new normal for ourselves. And I'm so grateful to you all for hanging in there and for being willing to come back and participate in creating this new normal for us. This is how we love one another. This is how we love one another. It's not about, I'm afraid of a disease. It's about, I'm going to love you by doing everything in my power to make a safe and healthy place for you to be. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing. And welcome home. Say it with me. Welcome home. All right. There's no place like home. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Home is where the heart is. Yeah. Home is where the heart is. And I remember when I was a little kid in the Fundamentalist Church, and we had Bible class before church, and then in church, the kids came in and sat with the families because we were to just sit there and practice being rigid. And but I remember after Bible class bringing to my mom the picture that I had just colored. I think I was 4, maybe 5 at the most. And it was a picture of a building with a big steeple on it. And the caption below said, "The Lord's House." And my mother said to me, "That is not the Lord's house. That is a building. We are the Lord's house. We are the Lord's house." That's a gift that she gave to me. And I believe it. And I believe it. So, welcome home. And this is our church home. This is home to us, for many of us, socially. This is where our friends are. This is where we come to be renewed. This is where we come to get away from all that stuff that Ruby was describing in the world and live this truth that is true all the time, but that we forget when we're surrounded by all the distractions of the world. We're home. We're home. And I know, and as I anticipate Mother's Day next week, which will be an especially hard one for me because it will be the first without my mother. And I also am quite aware that home of origin was not a comfortable place for many of us. For a great deal of my childhood, home was not a comfortable place for me. And anytime you've been someplace where you tried to be home but you just couldn't, you know what that feels like. If you were not nurtured or cared for, then I say, welcome home. Because we want to know you. And we want to nurture you and care for you. If you've been rejected or turned away or abandoned, you are welcome here. Always. Always. If you see selfishness and unfairness out in the world, come to a place where we strive to do our part for the good of the whole. We're not a bunch of individuals. We recognize that there is one love and we are that. If you've been in a place where you felt like you had to hide yourself, to hide who you truly are, come here, where we strive to be honest and authentic and kind. If you get confused when you're out in the world and people's words and deeds do not match up, people say I love you and they do not behave lovingly. People say I care about you, but they do not behave caringly. Then I'm going to say, not that we're perfect. God knows I'm not. But I'm going to say we are here striving to be honest and kind, and we are striving to accept anything within us which we find unacceptable. And guess what, y'all? The only reason we ever find something people is because we find it unacceptable in ourselves. So this is the place where we come to do the work of growing up. I know, it's hard to grow up. The work of growing up, of spiritually maturing, of coming to the truth of ourselves, not by looking out there and taking a poll and seeing who do they think I am, but by going deep within here and asking the question again and again, who am I? Who am I? And being supported in that journey by people who will say, I see that God is in your face. You are the face of God, a song we sing. I see that. When I forget it, I get to be reminded again and again. Any place that you've ever gotten kicked out of, well, come on here. Come on over here. Home is a place that we come to. In baseball, when we've struck out, you gotta just go back home, right? But also, it's the place where we come when we've circled all the bases. It's the place we come to rejoice in our wins. Yeah? Home. Home. And sometimes home, for many of us, our homes of origin or other homes that we've tried to make a place for ourselves where we've tried to fit in. I know I came to a place in my early 20s where there was no way I could any longer fit into the church of my childhood. Because I believed so strongly that God is love. And God is perfect love. Surely God's love is better than the love that I express on a day-to-day basis as a person in a human body with all of the human foibles and limitations. Surely God's love is better than that. And I knew that I could look out into the world and there was not one person that I would send to hell to burn for eternity. Amen. And if I'm that magnanimous, think how magnanimous God is. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Amen.
And I didn't think there was a place. I didn't even know if I could say that out loud. I knew it in my heart. I didn't know I could say it out loud. I didn't know if there was a place where anyone else believed that. I didn't know. And then I found a place. And then that place nurtured me to grow more and more. And then I found more places. And then I found this place. So whatever the place is where you first got to know that you are loved unconditionally, that your only purpose on earth is to learn how to love more freely and fully, even with our human limitations. That we are here to give love and to receive love, not to just give love, but to give love and to receive love in a perfect flow. How are we going to give out what we don't have? We got to let it in. Everybody just do like this and breathe deeply. Let it in. Let it in. Do you feel it? There's something about this posture of letting it in. Okay, you don't have to hold it there for too long. Just get our exercise. But this, let it in, and then you can give it out. It's at any point that we block it, whether we go, okay, I love, but not you, or we say, I'm worthy of love sometimes, but not today. Those are the places where we dam up the river of love that flows continuously if we just stay out of its way. If we just stay out of its way. We allow that river of love to flow through us. So I will say, if you don't like the home that you're living in now, either out in the world or wherever you normally worship, then who's keeping you there? I encourage you to find the home that does all of the things that we said here, that welcomes you, that loves you unconditionally, that's willing to see you for who you actually are. Not for the pretty clothes you put on or the polite words you say, but for who you are in your heart. I hope that you find that here. I believe that there is a space here for that, for everyone, and that we all need it. But I encourage you to find where yours is. You get to make your own home, wherever you are. You get to make your own. You get to decide. And that's really what we teach almost more than anything. We teach love. That's our big thing. We teach love and only love. And we teach that you have the choice at all times to choose love or not choose love. Now, sometimes it's really hard and sometimes it's unclear because the world is a confusing place and it sends us all kinds of messages. But love is who you are, and love is why you're here, and you can always choose that truth in your life. And if you forget, then you get to remember. And guess what? There are people who will remind you. And there are people who will simply hold the space, as Rumi talked about. Hold the space for you to come in and realize the truth of who you are. And who will see you as that. Love is here. Love is here. And we get to accept what we can't change and change what we can't accept out in the world. And in here too. That's one of the things that we strive to be here is open. So I hate to say this, but if you have a complaint, come to me, come to a board member. I promise you we're doing the best we can, and that everyone in the leadership of this church, the staff, the people who play your music, the people who run your sound, the people who seat you, everyone has your best interests at heart. You're safe and welcome here. So, there is a paradox in spirituality, which is that you are completely perfect as you are. Just now, not after you fix something or change something, not after you lose a few pounds or get nicer to your husband, but just now, as you are in this minute. And God, the Spirit of love, put a longing in your heart to grow. So you're absolutely perfect and you get to grow. Both of those things are true. It's a paradox. It's hard to hold, but it's the truth. Amen. It's the truth. And here's another paradox of spirituality, which is that everything you do matters. And that's what we believe in New Thought, is that our thoughts and our actions and our words come into matter in the world. And that's what physics teaches us, is that the invisible is made visible, but there's not any difference in them. Energy is matter, is energy is matter. So whatever kind of energy we live with is the things that we make matter, and I mean into matter. So literally, who we are and what we do matters. Never forget that. Never think you're the unimportant one, that it doesn't matter. Never think nobody saw me, so it doesn't matter. But also, nothing, any individual expression of us in human life for this tiny blip on the screen of eternity is that important. Can you hold that? That's weird. But it gives me a lot of comfort that I have a choice in the world, in how I want to show up and in what I want to do, and how I want to present myself. But I am not powerful enough in my own self to screw it up. That's the way I look at it. So can you hold these paradoxes? Can you, in this moment, believe in your own perfection? And the perfection of every person in this room and every person in their homes watching this, everyone who might watch it later. Can you believe that? And can you know that there's no room for unforgiveness because our mistakes are pretty insignificant in the scheme of things? Breathe that in for a minute. that bring you comfort? That brings me comfort. That brings me comfort. And that's where I want to make my home. Now, we've been in comfort, really uncomfortable, and yet, for many of us, rarely taking our pajamas or our sweats off. We have been comfortable in our confinement, but it also is easy to get safe and a little lazy. And so what I want to tell you about home is that home is also a place where everybody does their part, where no family member is more important than any other, where what you do contributes to the whole, who you are contributes to who we are as a whole. You matter to us. You matter. Not less than me, not more than me. You matter. And that is the truth in every place in your life. So as we call this community home, and that's what I'm most proud of us for, that is what I am most proud of us for, that even in these times when we could not be together, and we are a hugging church. I know that, guys. We are a hugging church. We love to have physical contact with one another. We haven't been able to do that for more than a year. We haven't been able to do that for more than a year, and yet we have held on to our feeling, more than a feeling, our sure knowing that we are still a community. Amen. Doesn't matter what chair our rear ends are in, whether it's a pew or it's a chair at home or it's the ground in Timbuktu, we are a community. And we have held together as a community. And we, by golly, are growing as a community. And the way to grow as a community is to grow as individuals. So I challenge you, and I invite you, and I welcome you home. Thank you. So let's just take that into meditation for a moment. Breathe deeply. And as you sit here breathing, you can focus on your breathing, or if you're uncomfortable in any room, just do a quick body scan. Relax your head and your face, your eyes and jaw and neck. Let go of any tension in your shoulders, your arms, or your hands. Let your back be straight but relaxed. Allow your hips to hold the weight of you. And relax your legs and your feet, your toes, your fingers. Not because there's a perfect way to meditate, but because we don't need physical distraction. It's easier to focus inward if we're not tense or in pain in our bodies. And so we breathe in. And we breathe out. And we simply maintain this awareness. I'm here. Breathing in and breathing out. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. Jesus said, I came to show you that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, and you are in me, and I am in you, and the Father is in all of us. It's a little bit of a paraphrase, but that's pretty much what he said. Stop thinking you're separate or alone. of yourself or anyone else. As we let go of judging, we let go of clinging to how things must be in order for us to be okay. And we allow life to be as it is. And that is a safe thing to do because life is love. If the power and energy of the love of God were not flowing through you in this moment, you would not be here. Therefore, as you breathe in, claim the power and the energy and the love of God as your own. Not selfishly as yours alone. And yet personally as your own divine connection. Allow whatever words that you use to express your beliefs to be translated into, well, it's all about love. Love is what is yours to do. Love is yours to give and receive. Love is flowing through you constantly. Love is who you are. Love's home is deep within you and me. We don't have to go anywhere